short, so the user wouldn't skip this unless they were determined to get started working quick. The distribution would mount, okay, so I guess he's describing his ideal distribution here, right? The distribution would mount the Windows partition, check for and download updates to the AV malware program first, then signatures and scan prior to booting Windows. This should only scan files that were modified since the previous scan. Another feature to consider would be having it check a repository every month or so for any updates to the image to this distribution. It would then download and verify that the image is not compromised. This would be done with checksum, MDA, or MD5 or SHA, I have no idea what they are, of the image from that same site. Then install/update the image. The distribution should probably use Squash FS to hold any files, settings, etc. Thanks for Jeremy. Sounds like a lot of cool stuff. I didn't understand some of it. And or what do you think about that?
Sounds like he should make it.
Yeah, right.
Because I mean, he honestly understands a lot of the angles that have to go into this.
Yes.
Here's the thing. For the most part, okay, there is a such thing as Linux, native Linux scanners, okay? Most of them focus on scanning for Linux rootkits and Unix rootkits, which do exist. The word rootkit, in fact, comes from the fact that rootkits were first introduced on Unix operating systems. Rootkit, root users, okay? There's only 2 I know about that you can genuinely install on Linux. One is ClamAV, and the other is AVG, maybe. I think it is the AVG.
Okay.
And whatever that other one is besides AVG is not a good one. It completely strangleholds your operating system, uses a lot of unnecessary processor cycles, uses a lot of RAM when it's not even running.
Really?
Okay? Yeah, it's not set up well. ClamAV is one of those things I'll say, all antivirus sucks. All of it. None of it does a great job.
Okay.
Some of them do good jobs. ClamAV does a fair job.
Gotcha.
Okay. If the best of the best of the best finds 86% of stuff, and the worst stuff finds like 50% of stuff, ClamAV is right about 60 or 65%.
Okay.
Okay. Is not perfect. And unfortunately, a lot of the boot tools like Kaspersky Scanner, I've tried to go into those distros, boot them up, or mount the ISO and rip out that application so I could put it on a different distro. I couldn't figure it out. Okay. And that's the only way you can get it. So you have a choice. You can use a tool like this multi-boot system that would allow you to boot a whole bunch of different antivirus tools, and like 8 or 9 of them. Sardu, SARDU, and it's at sarducd.it. This is the closest thing that comes to what he wants. Okay, with this tool, it is Linux based, the boot sequence of it. You can download and put on this really a thumb drive is your best case because you get like 16, 32 gigs. You can put on there AOSS, which stands for something that if I said you would vaguely find familiar, I can't remember. AOSS PC tools, AVG rescue CD, Vira rescue CD, Bitdefender boot CD, Dr. Web live CD, eScan boot CD, F-Secure boot CD, G-Data boot CD, Kaspersky rescue CD, Panda boot CD, VBA rescue, which I think might be a Viper, but it's spelled wrong.
Okay.
VIPRE. All of them on one thing, either USB or insanely large DVD, which Blu-ray maybe, I don't know. Boot to it, pick one of them, and then it will go through and do it. That's the closest you're going to come to what you want. I hate saying that because that's a horrible answer that is not satisfying. Here's the other thing. You cannot record what was already scanned and not have to scan it again. Because I can change the file dates and the creator from a command line on any file. If you do know what you scanned and not scanned it again, that means you have to do an MD5 hash on every file. That's extremely processor intensive, i.e., your scan would take 20 hours because you would have to MD5 hash each and every file.
Okay.
Over and over again. So that's really not good, I'll say.
I got you.
You could MD5 hash an entire directory, maybe, but you would need a really blistering fast computer.
All right. Cool.
So that's, this is a good between. This is a stopgap.
Okay.
Until you can get this Linux CD to do your bidding, I think this is it.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Dor.
No problem.
Next one is from Tim. He says, one of your callers suggested that this is for Raspberry Pi for audio is the subject line of this email. One of your callers suggested that the Pi would have insufficient CPU power to handle multi-channel sample mixing. While it may be underpowered for a generic high-end app and routing audio through jack, that's the software jack, software called jack, it certainly has more than enough power to do multi-channel mixing. Back in the late 90s, my 486 100 megahertz machine with a whole 32 megs, yes, 32 megs, not gigs of memory, was I was mixing up to 16 channels of 16-bit samples in real time on a DOS-based tracker. The Pi offers 8x the memory and 7x the processor power, which should more than suffice for a synth. While I didn't feel the need to enter your Pi idea contest and deprive others of the prize, or prizes, I like the idea of jamming the Pi into a keyboard with some batteries and loading a speaker-up-enabled kernel, loading a speak-up-enabled kernel, or perhaps running YASR or Emacs Speak to create a low-cost portable computer accessible to command-line savvy blind folks. Skip the monitor completely and interface purely via audio out. Sounds like something Jonathan Nadeau might get a kick out of playing with. Huh. That's pretty interesting.
Absolutely. I'm not going to comment on it because I don't know. And I don't want to make Rateo mad. I don't know if it'll work. If he says it will work, sure, it'll work. I don't know.
It depends. There's so many. It depends how complex of a synth you want to make. I mean, there's synths now that tax machines that are, current PCs. So it's all relative, but it makes sense. Old computers were running audio back then, but it's all relative. As far as the speak up thing, I don't know what is speak up. Is that a Linux distro?
I believe that's a voice synthesizer.
Okay. Oh, okay. Neat. Well, that sounds cool. Just install it in the keyboard, no monitor, and you're good to go. I like it.
So Speak Up is so it's like a screen reader, like Orca, which I know Orca is semi-popular, at least. This one I honestly do not know.
Okay. We'll check it out later. Cool. Thank you for the email. This one is from Kareem. Now, this one, Kareem, it might be Kareem who sent us the voicemails, not Kaleem.
Yeah.
He says, "Hey, Steve and Steve, the titles are really impressive and cater to Linux users from all walks of life." And he gave a link. These are 10 free Linux ebooks. And I will take that link and put it in the chat room, and let's see if this works. Yes, it's in the chat room, and I will also send a copy to Dor and Paul for the show notes. But it's basically at royal.pingdom.com. That's awesome website, Royal Pingdom. Royal.pingdom.com, and do a search for 10 free Linux ebooks, and you will find them. And then Kareem says, P.S. I'm very tempted to start using an internet alias for myself, but I won't. And if I ever decide to do it, it would be the Doctor. I love how you just randomly added that at the end. And so I emailed him back, thanks, Doctor. Cool. All right, Kareem, appreciate that link. I have not checked it out. You checking it out, Dor? How's it looking?
Yes, I am.
How's it looking?
Well, first off, I like the name Doctor because then when you get serious, you can say, "Hey, Doc." Yeah. You can use a little bit of variation on it.
Yeah, that's true.
I gotta say, most of these books have utter cred, I'll say, because a lot of them look like they are O'Reilly books that he released for free. And then there's 2 or 3 I've seen other people mention. The Linux Network admin guide. This is the second edition. I think they're up to the fourth edition. But I guarantee you 99.9999% of the stuff you learn there is still very applicable.
Right.
And the other one was the the Linux command line, a complete introduction with a robot eating a can of something, chmods and commands like Popeye eats spinach.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, and I will say that Ubuntu Pocket reference guide, I think I mentioned back on like episode 2 kind of thing. You can buy the book or download it for free. This to me was a must-have for a new user that wants to do more than just go to Facebook, go to YouTube. So.
Right. Very cool. All right. Next email from Running Man. Great info. I am a club DJ / producer and soon to be an FM radio DJ. I have got a home studio with Windows and Mac boxes. I can't wait to see if I could find some Linux-based tools for making various content. Started listening to the various podcasts recently. I'm hooked. Keep it going. That's from Running Man DJ. Now, probably a great place to start would be Rateo's site, which is is it Penguin Producer?
Good man.
PenguinProducer.com.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, check out him. He's really laid out what Linux can do as far as audio. But I don't know if it is on his site. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Some of the cool like beat making tools on Linux, because there is one. I can't remember the name of it. It's called Hydrogen, maybe, or something like that.
That sounds right.
Okay, it might be one called Hydrogen. Check out Bitwig. I'm excited for the release of this software called Bitwig. It's a DAW. It's a digital audio workstation that looks like a combination of Ableton Live, Logic from the Mac, and Pro Tools, or a couple other programs, all squished into one. These are all audio recording programs. It looks pretty cool, and they have not released it yet, but that looks promising. Other than that, you have Ardor, which is the tried and true Linux digital audio workstation. Anything I missed?
No, everything you said.
All right. See, that's the kind of stuff I could talk about. All right, this is from Dave. Dave says, did I mention to you that I had Ubuntu 11.10 running on my Sony VGC-V2M with the NVIDIA GeForce FX 5700? Well, it died yesterday after an update, so for the moment I've gone back to Ubuntu 10.04 LTS as it's tried, tested, and works flawlessly. I've read that the current kernel is the issue with the driver, which hopefully will get fixed soon. I've read that the current kernel is the issue with the driver, which hopefully will get fixed soon. But I've got another 12 months of support in what I'm currently running, so I'll keep checking on the sites till it's fixed. Anyway, I've sorted my server not booting issue without a monitor now, thanks to my dad who gave me an ATI graphics card. So now it's in full swing, and of course running Ubuntu 10.04 LTS. Keep up the great work, and don't burn yourself out, especially doing the 5 podcasts now. And that's from Dave. Anything to say about that one, Dor?
Yeah, we did read an email from him last week about getting his NVIDIA card working, and we were like, well, they just joined the Linux Foundation, so everything's fixed.
Right.
And, obviously it wasn't. I'll say this. He's been blindsided by one of the Ubuntu gotchas.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that?
Ubuntu is closer to Mac and Windows in this respect. They believe there's a little bit more that they should control, including a tighter control on the desktop and tighter control with video cards. I believe if he was running, for instance, plain vanilla Debian, he would have been able to pick a whole bunch of different drivers going back in time and getting it to work fine. Also, he would have better kernel options in it. With the ease of Ubuntu comes a little bit of giving up control, I'll say.
Right.
But the real thing I want to highlight in this email is, please, people, don't think just because there's a new Ubuntu out that you have to run it. You don't have to run it. 10.04 still has 2 years, I believe, of support left. 10.04. There's no reason to upgrade, really. If it